There we go. We are live. Okay, we are going to continue our discussion this morning about the North Zero Drawbridge, a major project that was started about 3 years ago and almost completed. And you can disregard some of the questions from the committee this morning because they're after me about this project. So anyway, good morning and welcome. You are
Douglas Spano.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Again, this is a huge project. It's pretty well completed. They had a temporary drawbridge in there for some time, and now it's some bridge that's been there 100 years probably. It's being replaced. It's a big project. So go right ahead. And tell us about it.
Okay. So once again, my name is Douglas Spano. I'm the Northwest Regional Engineer for construction, the Agency of Transportation. So we'll go ahead and get started. So, as introduced, this is a drawbridge that is the only movable drawbridge in the state of Vermont, and it was put into construction in its most current version in May of 2018. And as of last November, we had an opening functioning drawbridge. And so, since through the winter, we've continued to remove the temporary drawbridge and are approaching the end of the project. This
870,000 pounds of rebar, 6,200 concrete yards, 15,000 bolts. Wow.
Yeah, there's some interesting details for sure. So just a quick history: the original bridge was a swing span bridge that swung sideways to allow boats to travel through, and it was replaced in 1953 by the bridge that you see in the upper right-hand corner, which is a double leaf bascule bridge that was in function right up until this current project. In 1996, we did a little bit of a rehab, and again in 2008, I think we put a new deck on it. But
all three of those other pictures are of the old bridge, not the swing bridge, but
the old one, right?
The swing bridge is in the center.
Right.
That's the original, yeah. And the upper right is the bridge that we just replaced. Correct.
And the bottom ones.
The bottom one is the new bridge.
Doesn't seem like these bridges are lasting very long. We drawbridges usually have longer lifespans.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts, but the current bridge is designed for a 100-year design life. Get to that a little bit. So here's just a mid construction point here. You can see the tender house in the lower left, which functions as the operating point for the bridge. And at this point, the spans have been set, and the approach spans have not been built. I thought this was kind of an interesting slide. It shows some of the complexities and the components of a drawbridge. In the upper left is the trunnion support. That's the pivot point where the bridge swings up and down. In the lower left-hand corner, you can see the trunnion support bottom half with the trunnion in the middle, and around the outside you can see those are grease ports. You can see the grease on the spindle before it gets put down.
Is it an easy lift? You know, the way it's designed and all of that, the way that it's, the mechanics and all that, because it doesn't seem to be that big of equipment there to lift out all that weight up. So the balance has got to be just.
It's two 30 horsepower electric engine motors.
No kidding.
So it's not that bad for this size.
Yeah.
It's very well balanced, and that's the challenge with a drawbridge of this type, is getting the right amount of weight behind the trunnion that balances, so it's just tip heavy, right?
Yeah.
And that was actually a challenge in this bridge as well.
So many times the old one was stuck and they didn't have any transportation. You can't go anywhere. You can't go around it because go around it's 50 miles to go around it.
It's definitely a challenging location.
So we talked about this several different times in this committee. We call the bridge is just kind of a neat thing because it's the only one in Vermont. But the engineering that has done with that, did we engineer this, or did the company that ends up getting the bid, do they engineer it?
Actually, this was a consultant firm that we use, HDR Engineering. So it's an outside consultant with specialties in drawbridges, but it's also a contracting method where we brought Chimbro, who's the contractor, on board prior to the award of the contract to help us with some of the challenges of constructability of the job. So they had some, I don't want to say, they had some input into some of the final details and detailing of the bridge prior to the construction.
Because then, like, we build drawbridges every day. I
They
mean,
did a good job. I mean, no complaints. I mean, the people were, well, I mean, they had a lot of delays. I mean, things that happen. It's just because they had to build a temporary bridge, and it was amazing. I never got a phone call that said, you know, they were upset. I mean, sure, the traffic was slow and everything else, but they knew their stuff in that contract. They did a good job.
They did, and interesting, but I'm sure you guys are aware, with this particular bridge, that we were required to install a temporary lift
Right.
fan.
That was $25 million.
That was-
temporary
That
bridge.
didn't, yes, that did not come cheap. So here's another slide that show you some more components. So on the left is the galvanized grid span deck panels being flown in by the crane, and those are panels that we set across the bridge deck. And then on the right hand side is the top view. You can see it's all galvanized reinforcing steel. It'll last a very, very long time.
Can't even imagine doing a project. The thought that has to go into this, it's just because you're in the water, piers deep down, concrete, rebar. And it's just amazing how you can project the cost of something like that when you bid it. I mean, especially a 3-year project, I guess. It was almost 3 years, right?
Yeah, it was more than.
And they had to keep their employees here because they're out of state. So,
And they did work right through the winters,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was good. They didn't have to continue to shutting down. So this picture here shows the eastern span deck has been poured, and then the span was opened. So it just shows that leaf being poured and open. And that was another interesting point. We needed to have one span open or the other all summer long, right? So the boats could go through. So that was one of the requirements of one of the challenges that they had, is to have one side or the other open all the time through the summer. Just some more of the components and showing the complexity of this bridge. Here are the pistons that open the bridge.
They have a generator when this electricity goes down,
Yes,
back up.
yes, they have a huge cat generator
Yeah.
right there on site.
Two.
Two, correct.
On each side.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is a walkthrough, for the record, Todd Law,
Yeah.
Deputy Director of District Maintenance. Yes, there's two cat generators, one big one on the tender side, and the other side is a little smaller one, just to make sure that we can open. So we don't have those times when it's stuck down like we've had in the past.
Yeah, you get one side generator, works the other side, you drag your car on top, you wait.
So this picture here shows the two 30 horsepower engines, electric motors, I should say. Here's a picture inside the control house. This is not like the 1953 version
Wow, I guess not.
of the bridge for sure. So it's very, very,
Technology.
there's a lot of technology. There is, you can see all the warning lights and controls that you have with this picture here shows the dashboard a little bit better. It shows you in active time the angle of the bridge, and lots of the systems as far as what's going on with the span locks and the traffic gates and that type of thing. Here's another picture showing the bridge. So it's 81 feet from bumper to bumper as far as a channel opening. You can also see in this picture there's a catwalk that goes. You can walk under the bridge up in between the girders, so that you can go get a visual on the span locks that actually lock the two tips of the girders together when it's closed.
You can change all the navigational beacons from there also.
And
I was
change-
out on that catwalk.
That's correct.
Really? And there's a gap between that's, 2 or 3 feet, but besides that, it's very tight. As I'm getting older, I'm realizing that that would not be the job for me. I'm not gonna retire and run the job. Calling out there was.
So I thought it'd be interesting just to show that there is actually a CFR governing the operation of the drawbridge that has the Coast Guard requirements for the openings of the bridge, which is from May 15th to October 15th, every hour on the hour and every half hour from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And as signaled by boat. So if there's a need, if a boat calls in, it'll open on the half hour from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then
Does it have to open, or if there's no boats, they don't have to open?
No, they only open if they're signaled by a
Oh,
sailboat.
okay, so
How do they signal?
There's a number, there's a.
All you see call it, yeah.
Yep, there's a channel that gives right to the tender house. Yeah,
And so we've asked this question before, and I forgive the committee for asking it again, but is it staffed during those hours?
absolutely.
Eight October.
So it isn't automatic where,
So 12 hours during the day, yes, it's staffed. After hours, it's 4-hour response time. And that's when, so the employees would be on call after those 12 hours, the 8 to 8. And during the winter months. So outside of that, we have an obligation to open up the bridge as needed within 4 hours after the what is it, October 15th.
What would that need be for? It's nice.
They have had a few, the Coast Guard cutters actually came through a few years ago. It's not very frequently,
Okay,
but
but it is there.
it's erect.
Is there living quarters in that big, no, so there's not like a room?
No, there's multiple mechanical rooms and storage rooms and such below the tender house. Bathroom facility and that type of thing, but there's no living quarters, no.
I'm pretty sure that on the house there, where the fellow is standing there, that I saw a menu from Mazda General Store on there.
I knew it was coming, it was coming. I didn't know when, but it was coming, yeah. I'm gonna have the concession.
Yeah, I thought you had the concession contract.
Wow, look at that. I'm anxious to see it. I haven't been up there.
Oh, it's, you definitely have an open invitation
Yeah, well, with this,
to get up there.
we want to take a tour, the committee wants to go up there.
Yeah, I'd love to do
I
that.
want to buy them lunch, so.
Yeah.
Definitely eye-opening.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you're,
yeah.
It's absolutely amazing to go through that. We went through a month ago with the resident engineer, and it was phenomenal.
When's the completion?
it's gonna be mid-May, but there'll be stuff going on
Yeah, you gotta
into the summer.
let us know. We gotta sneak up there.
Are both of the islands or the concrete, both of them have, it must, they gotta have mirror images of each other as far as for rooms and all that down there?
No, the tender house side has more of the mechanical room. And the other side has the necessary pumps and hydraulics and that
So
sort of
that
stuff.
must be kind of neat down in those, down at.
It's, yes, it's pretty interesting to get up there. If the committee can get up there, just, yeah, Phil, at the end of the presentation is one of the pictures of Phil, my guy that's been up there for 2 or 3 years. So he's the expert on the bridge for sure, isn't he, Todd? I mean, he knows what's going on.
Can I bring my 10-year-old when we go? That'd be all right.
I think, looking at the last slide, that you're already there. Huh? I see you be up there. This is work. Yeah. Oh, this.
So
As
this is there
as
now.
you can see here, the old bascule was actually, the end was actually fixed for the bascule, yeah, the
Oh,
old.
look at it, it's going down.
The bascule was like the old bascule, that was the old bridge.
Can you imagine putting
And
that?
the end was actually at the abutment. This one actually recesses down into some,
Oh, no,
Right, this
kidding.
year.
you can't jump it like they used to try to.
Yeah.
So now, yes,
Yeah.
there's barrier gates here. Now someone got by, they're not going there, they're going.
Just can't imagine the technology and skill it took. It just blows my mind to think of a project that size. It's just,
Do you notice this point here? How, oops, how the guardrail is designed, the bridge rail, it needs to be angled like that to accommodate the opening.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, in order to get down flat, you need to have the,
look at that. Look
The first car to go across should be a Corvette.
Yeah.
How's the car got over model?
Yeah.
yes, it's been open since last December.
A little.
Here, we got to go to the opening. They never told me you'd have an opening. God.
They haven't had the ribbon.
They haven't had a ribbon, they
Oh, they
haven't had a
haven't had
formal
yet?
ceremony, no.
Since December.
Yeah, so, for that.
Oh, yeah, I want to go to that. Gee, that's going to be exciting. So, I mean, I was always impressed by the contractor being out of state, number one. They had to bring all the people with them, and they worked a lot of nights, they worked a lot of holidays, they worked, I don't know the contractor, but I guess they're a large contractor. I don't think we had many complaints about us, but it's a major, you don't build one of these every day.
So,
They also did the Route 78 bridge, the Swan Bridge.
Oh, the same contract?
Same contract as Schindler also.
from Maine, yeah. So this, yeah, just some more aerial photos of the bridge in different perspectives.
Wow.
So the current status, we have about a week left of removal of a temporary bridge abutments, and there's some rock anchors that are in the lake that we're helping support the temporary bridge that need to be removed, so they don't provide a hazard to the navigational waterway. And we're finishing the warning gates and put the final lift of pavement on it, and we're in pretty good shape. So this is the crew, and they were pretty proud that there's 5 of them up there. They're all UVM Vermont grads that were overseeing the project.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Oh, UVM, here we go. There it is. Well, we're two in there.
Randall Zhongi Beliveau was a
Yeah.
civil engineering professor for many years. I bet many of them had him, so.
Youngie was your uncle? Yeah, he's a great guy.
So I had that pink jacket.
I had him for a professor. I liked
Remember
him.
this pink jacket that he liked?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Played squash at lunchtime. Yeah. So this right here, I'll just point out this one. This is Phil. He's my guy that was is the resident engineer, Phil Harrington, and the other guys are consultant inspective staff that he oversaw.
So Phil will be your tour guide because he is extremely knowledgeable of that bridge and all the complexities that went into it. He was absolutely awesome for us when we were seeing what this meant for maintenance. Because after construction, the maintenance, a maintenance asset for us.
I don't know, when you talk about $73 million bridge or whatever, and I don't know this, but you wonder how close the contractor was in determining that bid, coming out with a profit, or whatever, because when you're talking about that kind of volume for 3 years, you wonder how it came together, either profitable or not profitable.
Yeah,
Because you're talking about a 3-year project.
with all that's gone on in 3 years,
How do you anticipate everything, the cost of goods? I mean, it's just phenomenal. It just
Especially during
blows my
this.
mind.
You had UVM engineers doing it.
When you-
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah, right. Yeah, it's above their pay scale. When you think about that, I just, do you end up with underbidding by 5 million or you pay money? I mean, I don't know. It's just, wow.
I'm guessing they made money, but.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, but it just takes the amount of work that goes into estimating something like that. You gotta, every little detail, you gotta think of the consequences. If it's bad, the weather's bad, the material, 15,000 volts, I just, things that you don't even understand, but I mean, that's not a league that I never understand. It's not my thing. Well, good, really good presentation.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice.
You'll be surprised to learn there's a drawbridge.
Yeah.
Really?
Robert, yeah.
Yeah, it was only 73 million. Sorry, had a hard time saying that number.
7.3?
Yeah,
But you got
73.
870,000 pounds of rebar, 6,200.
I like that, 15,000 volts.
Yeah, it may be 14,900, but it was rounded.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have
We're
to
gonna
do
go, we're gonna see
a
that this
tour.
spring.
Yeah.
You have to show her the video.
Yeah,
You wanna go back to
That was
that?
the only new thing that we
We
had
gotta
to
see
see
this, Jane.
So it's programmed to fully open in 85 seconds. That was one of the requirements of the contract.
85 seconds? Wow.
Is it going?
Yeah, not yet.
But that water is blue, isn't it?
Yes.
There it is.
There it goes. It's gonna go down.
I could get vertigo.
I'm not going to the top of it.
What is the lifespan
It's a 100-year design life.
I
It's all galvanized reinforcing steel and
guess I won't have to.
Just,
I won't be here.
I won't be.
truly once in a lifetime project for all of us.
Yeah.
30 horsepower motor on each side, that's it, to make that happen.
Oh, and I'm sure because it's all leverage.
Like Russ would say, I'll still be here like this.
What was the lifespan of the last one?
Well, it was
Give me a
built in
place to stand
1953.
and I can move the
Was it
world. He said
100
that.
year?
No, they were back in, it was probably a 75-year. It was probably what they aimed for back then.
And how old is it?
So the original one, or the second one was 1953 to 2018 is when we started this project. So,
So,
I mean, it served its purpose for sure.
Lot of
You said you replaced it in the 90s.
We did some rehabilitation work, nothing of large scale. No.
Why did they switch to the drawbridge from the swing bridge? What's the advantage of a drawbridge from a swing bridge?
Well, that's an interesting question. I
I kind of like this. It's simpler in a way, but maybe it's not.
That would be 453.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I hadn't anticipated that question.
I bet it took a lot longer to swing that thing.
Right.
And then all of the different components that it would take to actually swing that and not have it fail on us. I'm sure the design life is a lot less. I mean, obviously.
Just because there's more weight out there.
It's, yeah,
The
there's,
wear on the spinning part is
yeah.
gonna be so
What's
heavy.
the tricky part?
you don't have the leverage that, with the swing that you've got here. You've got a lot of, yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Most of the tricky part to me is if you had to
Is
build
that
another
Archimedes
bridge,
who said, give me a
just
place to stand and I
just to build that bridge.
Who said that?
And then tear it all down. And that was,
Huh? Archimedes?
like I said, I think 25 million.
Look it up. Give me a place to stand and I can move the.
With a lever on it.
And Chimbro
Who said
owns
it,
that
though?
bridge.
Oh,
they do?
Some, yeah.
No kidding, so they brought, yeah,
We've used it before.
no kidding. That's
It all had to
interesting.
do with leverage and balance.
So what they do when they put the temporary, they had to put concrete late for that.
So you replace the stand,
Take it
let it
all
lie
out.
out, and move it.
Correct. Well,
Archimedes.
not a lot of concrete in the lake. They're
I haven't had to use that.
Piers,
piers.
right, they were supposed, yeah, they were like this.
Yeah.
You can see over here, they're steel tubes filled with an anchor for
Oh, okay.
the anchor rod and concrete. So they pull those.
Yeah, just to get through the temporary one.
Yeah.
So when is the bridge gonna be, when is the cutting? It's
That's,
already open?
it's open, but there hasn't been a ceremony. So
So it's still on tape, there's a picture.
so that'd be a Joe Flynn question.
I thought maybe Senator Mazen would know.
No,
They're keeping them in the dark.
We're still waiting for.
Well, we did see where the concession stand was. So,
Lies.
yeah,
So
how the menu on
you see the nameplate? It's underneath the bridge.
the, you ever see the menu, the Mazda menu was
It's
on
underneath
there.
the bridge. Take a pass.
It's on the porta potty.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh.
First, it's your daughter.
Yeah,
Well,
I know it well.
Apparently, she doesn't have to worry about any morning committee.
You know, today's up in Wicked, I'll tell you.
So one of the things that we were looking at here, one of the immediate questions that we had when we started looking at this bridge is, this is just a big computer.
Yeah.
So as we all know, when you have an issue with your computer, you have to reboot it. Well, if we have a half an hour where we have to open up this bridge and there's an issue with this computer, the question was, well, how do we
Oh, went
Raise the
down
bridge.
to.
So there's actually a control panel that's down into, just underneath this tender area with cameras. So there's cameras that look at the gates, that looks at the bridge that you can see from the tenders area. And then there's the control panel downstairs that actually goes right into the controls themselves. So you can operate that
Manually.
somewhat manually, but
But you can lower the bridge.
without the computer system that's up here.
Yeah.
So to raise it over. So
Yeah,
that
you
was-
bypass it, yeah.
Exactly.
The other one, you
Still
go
need
and you
like-
get stuck there for
We
hours.
still need electricity. There's a generator on both sides, a very large one on the tender side, a smaller one on the other side. They had actually talked about linking them both together. Phil was telling us. Again, Phil is just full of insight information on this. So, luckily he's young enough and, whether he retires from us or not, he'll be a consultant, I'm sure. But until we.
Probably
get-
won't have many more projects like this in Vermont, though.
No, this is the only movable bridge in the state of Vermont, so it's definitely a unique project.
it was impressive. We were down in the sump, and that's one of the things that we're looking at, is there's a lot more maintenance to this with the machinery from the old bridge. And I think that's part of the longevity, the lifespan of this thing. We need to make sure we stay on top of maintenance, so immediately,
How big is
the
the
sump needs to be
spans?
cleaned.
What is the length of each of the two spans?
So it's 81 feet, the waterway is open, so it's 40 plus, 45 feet probably.
Yeah, you don't have a gap, I'm assuming.
No.
Are the
And it goes
rules,
past.
are the rules about salt use and all that, or, so you can just maintain like a regular road, you don't have to.
We maintain it like a regular road, so we will have to make sure that we stay on top of the washing, especially down in that sump area.
Right.
Because, it'll never seal totally. There are troughs underneath there that'll collect some of it. And there's actually a sump pump down it, because the bottom part of that sump is 11 feet below the water elevation.
You can see all the area in here and obviously around. I mean, there are troughs to try and catch the water, but you can imagine if this thing's open in a rainstorm, it's not dry down there. So there's areas down there that need to be maintained. There's some pumps down there that pumps water to an oil water separator.
Where's the bike path? There's no bike path. It goes right across the same bridge.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the gates on each side will actually hold back a motor vehicle. They latch together. So as I understand it, even up to a tractor trailer. I mean, they'll definitely do some damage, but they are made so if somebody tries to go through with the gates down, it will stop them. It will inhibit them from going through.
You need that in Smuggler's Notch.
Has that been a problem with drawbridges? People trying to do the job?
They've had a couple of them. And with the old bascule, either they had one that actually was just starting to go up. They went through the gate and they said that they did go over. There was one of them that was up and the person had a medical emergency and drove into the bottom. This one, they would go down into that sump.
Oh,
Which
yeah,
would be a major issue.
that would be
So
very
that's
much
why,
fun.
that's why they really put up those gates that'll stop a vehicle from going through. So
So have you been up to go across it yet?
No, I haven't. I was up a couple of times during the construction period, but I have not yet. The finished product, which is opening officially next week, or it's open now, but it's been open for some time. They're using it now that the substitute bridge is gone.
Can we get Russ's boat there for the?
Yeah, we
Russ
gotta
can't
go
go
do
through.
that.
That's why we had to build it for boats like
Yeah,
this, because
exactly.
otherwise, if you didn't have his size boat, we didn't have to build it.
That's right. Single-handedly cost you $15 million.
Yeah, well, I thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it's freezing like that, see, most boat owners don't have those large boat, but he has a tower on it and everything.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna be able to lay my plane on it.
No problem.
That was very neat, very neat.
couple other points with this. So the old bridge, we used to operate with temporary employees all summer long. And we had our bridge maintenance staff that would do some of the maintenance, repairs and maintenance. This one's looking like there's a little more to it. We're looking at more full-time employees to do this because of the maintenance needs, because
But
of the
it's
washing.
seasonal, though, still
It's,
seasonal.
it's somewhat seasonal, but there will be
Till
some
October.
additional washing of the bridge again. The salt that gets down into that sump will have to be washed off. so we don't
But
get
actually
erosion.
moving the bridge section up,
We-
that's only from
So
May to October. you said.
Generally,
Generally.
they do have to, I think, yeah. We have to have someone on call within 4 hours to open the bridge if the Coast Guard wants to get through, no
Uh-huh.
matter what's around.
Year round.
360 route, yep.
This year, the boats can go through 12 months a year,
Yeah.
there's no ice.
But there's occasionally, even after the October 15th, right into November, occasionally like General, Green Mountain or General Electric, someone has had some big transformers that need to be transported through, so we've opened it for them off season sometimes.
Okay, any other questions, comments?